we have some sort of estimates of around 71 million Nigerians living below $1.90, in which is what define people living at a poverty level. So it's a lot. It's a lot there.
Okay.
And when you look at the situation as at 2016, we were at about 61 million, and then 10 million has been added. And with the current situation, more is said to be added. And you look at other countries, our neighboring countries, you see that they are actually growing, taking their people out of poverty. But ours, we are adding more people to poverty. So when you look at those sort of scenario and what is presenting Nigerians with, then obviously the cabinet has enormous work to do. They have a huge challenge before them to begin, and especially the Minister of Economy and the coordinating Minister of the Economy, who doubles as a finance minister. There's a lot of work to do to try and get the country back into a growth trajectory.
Okay, Mr. Bernard, we have just 9 minutes to get done with this segment, but I have those questions. Before you tell us if anything is wrong with the process, recruitment process of leadership in Nigeria, would you in a minute just tell us, can you just give us a comparative perspective on leadership recruitment in Nigeria and the UK?
Okay, probably. I think the UK practice a parliamentary system, so sometimes I don't usually like to do those comparisons, but probably let me use America. Okay, there's an excellent book which I recommend for anyone to read, written by the governor of Massachusetts, who is a graduate, by the way, of Harvard, and he was a two-term governor of Massachusetts in the United States. He called the book Result, where he gave a framework into leading a state. So for our country and for Plateau, for example, they can learn quite a lot in those principles, the result framework. And key amongst it is among the framework, the first principle is people are policy. So in this, there's a huge emphasis on building a team. So building a team is a huge part of public policy. So what we are trying to, if I would like to compare what, Berker did, for example, and I would say that we have a long way to go in Nigeria. For people are appointed or leaders are recruited. And like I said, based on religious consideration, based on affiliation to ethnicity and some primordial type sentiments, rather than the quality of what they have or their ability, capability to be able to do the work.
Yes.
Governor Baker, for example, gave an example of how he was able to recruit the best brain. You see, as a governor, every of his appointees were actually interviewed. He will shortlist a number of candidates and then interview them, obviously having a very clear task for them and set them an interview process. And this process can go on and on several times. But here in Nigeria, sometimes we actually appoint people into government office that we don't even know. We have not even had interaction with. We don't even know whether they have the capacity to be able to achieve the task we want to give to them. Sometimes we don't even have a very clear task beforehand that we are going to give to these people. So in terms of leadership recruitment, a lot to be done. I'm trying to summarize this actually in 1 minute, so I don't go beyond the time that you've given me.
Okay.
But I hope that gives you the gist of what we are talking about.
Yes.
It has to be a meticulous process where the leader, in this case either the governor or the president, has set a clear task on what they want to achieve, and in the process of what they want to achieve, they're able to then bring in people that have that capacity to be able to help them achieve their tasks. So in doing that, there has to be a very clear interview process. There have to be a very good background checks. They have to match competence with the job at hand. But unfortunately, these are lacking in our system because people want to just tilt into either their religion or their ethnicity or what have you. And this is not helping us at all as a country.
Oh, mine. Okay, maybe my last question, how should Nigeria as a country identify the right persons to discharge various leadership responsibilities? And if you just talk around that, maybe you just tell us a bit about your take concerning fuel subsidy removal, if you don't mind.
Okay, again, like I said, in terms of identifying the good leaders, and I think there's a President Obasanjo, we don't give him credit enough as to what he has done for Nigeria. People, obviously, we have selective amnesia, and people like to just concentrate on the bad aspect of things rather than what actually is good. When you look at what Obasanjo did during his tenure, by bringing professionals, technocrats, and put them in charge of very sensitive office. One of them has just launched a book yesterday, actually, Pathway to, Reclaiming the Giant of Africa. I think he titled that book, Mr. Aganga, who was actually recruited. He was at the time a manager in Goldman Sachs, and he was recruited into Nigeria to come and help. And he was a finance minister and eventually Minister of Commerce. You look at what he did during that time, obviously helped the country. They were able to help us during the Obasanjo time. Talk about the technological advancement in Nigeria at the moment. Yes. Talk about the fact that they were able to help, help the country recover from the debt burden. We got debt cancellation on that year tenure. And then when you move to what Jonathan did, he brought in Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala into the realm as well. So I think overall is looking at our pool of resources, be it abroad, be it at home, and there are excellent people at home, is to look at those individuals, find them. Government can be able to identify people, and they can find anything out. Government, so they should be able to locate people that are well trained, people that are well versed, people that have understanding of public policy, and put them into offices that are sensitive in the country to be able to drive the country forward.
Thank you.
I know you wanted me to touch on the issue of subsidy removal.
Yes. If you can do that in a minute, I will appreciate.
Sorry?
If you can do that in a minute, I will appreciate.
Okay. So that has become a huge issue in Nigeria, but subsidy could not have continued the way it was. In 2022, subsidy, Nigeria paid $10 billion in subsidy. And if you multiply that by the current value of the Naira, you're looking at about something around 750 billion Naira for subsidy in 2022. And over the 8 years of Buhari administration, he paid 14.6 trillion Naira in subsidy.
Thank you very much.
So when you look at that, there was no way that subsidy was going to continue in its current form. So sorry, the timing is quite narrow for me to be
Yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. Thank you very much. Any final word, any word there from you as we call off this segment?
So I'll call on Nigerians to be hopeful and to be supportive, and especially with some of the measures that have been taken by the federal government, especially on the removal of the restrictions on exchange rate and also the subsidy thing, which has led to increased cost of living, just to see this as a temporal factors. But I believe that the current government at the federal level have a very clear path to getting Nigeria out of the wood.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard, for speaking with us all the way from UK. Our listener, do stay tuned, and our viewers, well, stay with us. We'll be right back after this short time out. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Ka sani, na sani, kin sani, mun sani baki ɗaya cewa yanzu rayuwa ta canza. Komai na rayuwa ya ƙara tashin goron zafi, musamman farashin kayayyakin masarufi. Saboda haka dole sai mun yi haƙuri da junanmu. Kai mai gida ka kyautata, ke kuma uwar gida ki haƙuri. Ba lallai dole sai an ci abinci da nama ba. Idan har Allah ya hore an iya samun hatsin ma da za a ci ciki ya tashi, to a ci. Lokaci ne ya zo. In aka yi haƙuri wata sai labari. Ba gidanka ne kaɗai ake matsin rayuwa ba. Wallahi gidaje da yawa ma kafi su. Saboda haka mu kasance masu godiya Allah. Mata mu yi haƙuri. Yanzu ne mazajenmu suke buƙatar mu ƙara musu ƙarfin gwiwa, mu fahimce su. Mu kuma maza, mu ma mu gane cewa mata suna haƙuri, mu dinga musu adalci. Yau in baka samu ba gobe ka samu, ya nuna a gidanka cewar an samu. Ba wai ka maki abinka ka fita ka ci mai daɗi, su a gida ka basu da wahala ba. Allah ka fitar da mu daga cikin wannan hali.
Unity TV.
Domin warware zare da abawa, haɗa da samun ingantaccen sharhi daga masana game da batutuwan da suka shafi al'ummar Najeriya kai tsaye ta ɓangarori mabambanta da suka haɗa da mulki.
Wani tsari ya tanadar da mutum zai zama shugaban ƙasa?
Jagorancin shugabanni.
In ba son zuciya ba, ka yi doka na cewa kai a matsayinka na gwamna bayan ka tattara duk abubuwan da ya kamata a ce ka tattara.
Siyasa.
Kudin ai a zaben shugaban kasa shi zai fi ma tasiri, su suke da manyan kudade a hannunsu.
Bangaren ilimi.
Kowa ma abin ya shafa ba mutum ɗaya ba.
Kiwon lafiya.
Cutan fuka.
Tattalin arziki.
Takardan kuɗi 1000 kai kwana 2 kwana 3.
Harkar tsaro.
Wani lokaci za a faka motoci za ka ga har 2 suna nan gefe da gefe hakan nan.
Da ma sauran batutuwa da ke faruwa na yau da kullum. Kasance da tashar Unity TV da ke kan Badarsat a cikin shirin mahangar Unity a duk ranakun Litinin, Laraba da ma Juma'a da misalin karfe 7 na dare. Unity TV.
Hey there, our listener and of course our viewers. It's so lovely in the studios of Unity 93.3 FM this morning, and of course Unity TV. It's good to have some laughter moment even behind before we say accidents for us to be on air. You know, it's not bad. After all, we have to, you know, be smiling and then laughing and so to scare out some of the hardship that probably we, you know, are facing at the moment. Don't forget, my name is Bitrus Adam Easy and you're tuned to Unity 93.3 FM. Of course, in the studio, I told you earlier on that we have a very big guest, like always, and he is Honorable Comrade Daniel Asama, and of course I would choose to prefer saying a philanthropist because of his good gestures even before he zoomed into the activities of seeking public office. That is one thing I know him with. And so once again this morning, a guest in the studio. Though is that segment, our listener and viewer, for you to call. But before you call, just give us some 5 minutes or thereabout. We'll let you begin to call. Daniel, Honorable, good morning once again.
Thank you so much. Like I said earlier, it's a pleasure to be in Unity FM and TV. I'm so happy that Unity is making really big strides. The last time I was here, we were not live. Now we're live. We're on TV. We're on cable. We're on radio. Everywhere on Facebook. I mean, this is the way to go. Unity FM kudos, man. Let's do this.
Oh, this is the way to go. Yes, and you know, elections have come and gone, although we have lots of issues and challenging the victories of February 2023 during elections, in the courts at the moment. That is not all we'll be talking about this morning with you, Honorable Daniel Osama. We will be talking about governance, actually. You see, how do you expect governance to be? Let's just narrow it to Plateau. How do you expect people should govern the electorate?
Sadly, my brother, like the speaker said, the guest from UK,
yes,
he made mention of how entangled the Nigerian politics had become with religion. It becomes so sentimental, very religiously inclined. People have forgotten governance, and they are looking at incentives, sentiments, and there is emotions, there is gratification. We are really quickly losing the path of which we should go to get good governance. If we truly want to function as an entity and as a country, even as a state, we need to limit or even take away completely sentiments, religious inclinations, putting coloration of religion to governance. I mean, state is different from religion. We need to put that apart. Governance is different from religion. We have the right to practice our individual religions. The good thing is government should recognize religions that are inclined or they are enshrined within the jurisdiction or within the confine of the geographical location of which the country exists. But the religion shouldn't determine how the government should run. It's the opposite in this country. Religion is taking place of governance. I mean, it's difficult to function that way. And then there is sentiments. And there is also gratification. I have to get an appointment because I participated in your campaigns, or because I contributed in your campaigns, or because I'm part of your system, or because I agree solely with what you're doing. I'll tell you what, government that functions the best are those government that have a lot of oppositions. If the opposition is stiff and is hard, the government will stand up. It's just like competition in the marketplace. It's just the same. If you break monopoly, there is a lot of growth and development in the marketplace. So when you monopolize the system of governance and you're sentimenting it and you're making it become gratification, we will end up with a system that is called the catastrophic system of government. Catastrophic is when you have a system of governance where it is the less qualified that are ruling. When you make politics become cheap, catastocracy will come in, because people will see as if it's the place that they will go in and have a quick bandage to their wounds. I would suggest that whoever is in leadership, it doesn't matter what platform brings you into governance. It could be your political party or you're appointed. Once you get into that office, you must remember you are going to have to deal with the entire people. It's going to be Muslims, it's going to be Christians, it's going to be other beliefs, it's going to be people who are socialists, it's going to be people who are realists, it's going to be every kind of human being. You must learn how to accommodate these people in the best way possible. Above all, as much as there's gratification, I understand there's some kind of compensation, there's some kind of gratification in politics. It's okay, it comes in politics everywhere in the world. But it shouldn't take the lead. It shouldn't be the reason of which people are appointed into power. And like the speaker said from UK, we must learn from these advanced countries. If we have to do the kind of politics they do, look, I always say this and I'll never stop saying it. We cannot borrow this democracy from the West and borrow it half-baked. I don't even know. I am right here, not completely sure that democracy in the form of which we're practicing it is what we should learn to do in Nigeria or in Africa. I don't think the Western democracy is working for Nigeria. In particular, it's failing.
Wow.
We must have to carve out something that's working for us. Nigeria must start to think, I'm serious, we are big enough. We're just like babies. How can we keep feeding from the pot? You should, as a baby, you learn to take water, you learn to take liquid, you learn to take pap, you need to take milk, and you learn to eat solid food, and then you crack bones at some point. We are there. We are growing. We should show some sign of growth. Why, with all the intellectuality we have and the understanding we have, the autochtonicity of Nigeria is not reflected in the democracy that we are practicing? The anthropological belief system of Nigeria as a people is being denied by the system of democracy we are practicing. We may have to start looking at something that will work for us. What were our parents practicing? What were the good things that we were practicing as our norms? Can we borrow some of those good things that we were practicing before democracy and put them into this democracy? Can we make a fusion? Can we have something that will work for us? Because obviously this is not working. It's not working.
Okay.
And until how long before we start doing something?
Okay. Honorable.
Yeah.
Now, you seem to be following developments in terms of governance,
Yes.
not only on the plateau, but of course Nigeria.
I do.
Now, just barely a few months, the government is still, battling with issues of, having its men around, its team around for governance. Now, but a lot of other policies have been introduced. What policy you seem you don't too like, you're not comfortable with at the moment?
See, I'm gonna have to sit up on this one. How can you just wake up in the morning and just as a president and said fuel subsidy is gone? As much as I like Tinubu, I like Tinubu's approach towards governance, I think that was impulsive. With due respect to him, that was too quick. You should have created a platform, a landing platform, before you lift that plane up. I mean, you're a president. Everything you say beside what you speak in your bedroom becomes automatically an authority. Every of your word as a president is an authority. So when you are going to say anything, it cannot be impulsive. So now the government has said something like fuel subsidy is gone, and now you are struggling into trying to cushion the effect of going of this fuel subsidy. You should have created what is going to be after I take out this subsidy. I'll give you an example. And to say the truth, I'm saying this, people who understand commerce will be with me on this one. Subsidy is okay. You can put subsidy or you can take subsidy. It's both fine. Subsidy in some things and subsidy not in some things. Governments in the world, every advanced country will subsidize something. In subsidy is the only time that a citizen of a country feels the direct impact of his government. That's just in subsidy. Okay. People subsidize education, people subsidize health, people subsidize medicals, people subsidize,
food security,
food, everything. People subsidize, countries subsidize anything. You cannot subsidize all, but you must subsidize some. The problem with the subsidy right here is that Tinubu is taking out subsidy from the people, he said the oil merchants he's giving subsidy to. So who are you giving that money of the subsidy that you're taking from? He's giving it to the governors of the states. Now, let me tell you, the people, the independent petroleum marketers that you said in code that you are giving them subsidy, because some of them are even saying that we've never even gotten any subsidy in the first place. So even if you say you're giving them subsidy, these people were independent petroleum marketers, of which you have absolute, complete control over them as a government. You take the subsidy from them and you're giving the subsidy to executive governors. You're giving the benefit of that subsidy to executive governors of states who have immunity and cover by the Constitution. Which means you cannot control how the governor will use the money you gave him. He uses his money as a chief executive. So if the governor chooses not to use the money for the benefit of the people, you as a president cannot necessarily control that. But you had control over the people you were giving subsidy to. Now, I feel like you're even giving it to worse people. Okay. I'm sorry to say that. Okay. And then there are some of the other policies. You're talking about the dollar floating. You're talking about, the dollar cannot match up. The naira cannot match up the dollar if the internal economy is not boosted. SMEs, small and medium price enterprises. No government in the world had ever become a first world government or have grown economically without boosting its internally generated money. We need to boost our industry from inside. These little people cobbling shoes, these little people making watches, little people doing craft. We need to build them into industries. This is the only way you can match up with the dollar. You cannot match up the dollar by borrowing from the dollar. It's just, I just don't understand. How can you borrow again to use on running? You can't, if you borrow in any sense of the world, in any economic and commercial business entrepreneurship sense, you borrow to invest so you can pay back. You don't borrow to squander. We are borrowing money to run governance. It's wrong.
Okay, very quickly, in 3 minutes, we want to let our listeners and, of course, viewers to begin to call. But let's come back home on the plateau. There's this recent development and actions of the government of the day on the plateau. The suspensions of the local government chairman. How is that? Is that a good one?
I am not. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I cannot pretend sitting here that I know what is happening in the government house. The governor himself knows the exact pain he's going through. I don't want to wear his shoes. I don't exactly know what he's going through. But let me tell you the truth, though. You cannot run government by sentiment, okay? Two wrongs can never make a right. I knew when Caleb Mutfwang, His Excellency, was a chairman of a local government, and everybody knows what happened, how they got opted out and all of that. It wasn't really done in a way that was palatable to a lot of us, and I do not want to see him repeating the same. You know, it should not be like that. It's the impression this is giving is feeling like, okay, because it was done to you, now you want to do it to another person. I don't want to feel that way. I feel like the local government chairman is an executive office and it should be respected. Whatever it is, it should be respected. He's a lawyer. He knows what it means to respect the law. So the office of the executive governor must be respected. And I don't want to believe that he wants to work with people that are not loyal to him anyways. He kind of feels like even though you are a chief executive as a local government chairman by the federal constitution or federal system of governance, you should still have some loyalty and some respect to the head of the state of which he's running as a governor. So I want to believe that part of the reason governors change local government chairman is some kind of loyalty that they want, but I do not see that they are doing it the right way. I see that the whole thing is holding the state back. You know, local government shut down, local government open, and till the present, they still have a tussle in court. So maybe at some point we need to sit back. Just because we want to appreciate the system, let the judiciary finish its task, and then let's see what happens. I don't think that, I think we are jumping the gun. I think we are a little too fast about the whole of this. Okay. And I'm speaking as a person. I don't know exactly what the government is going through, but I will feel like he shouldn't be sentimental about this and try to let it flow by the system rather than making the two wrongs which cannot make it right.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable. At this point, I will just let our viewers and listeners to begin to call and make their input as regards issues, that we brought up on this platform. So if you're there, you can just join us 07032353315. That is the line to be part of the conversation. And you may also want to be with us on our social media platform. That is Unity Radio FM/TV. Just you'll be live with us. We beg that you will enjoy the conversations. And of course, Shaibu.
Yes.
Yes. You've listened to Honorable Sama, philanthropist there. So you would just listen to some of the things our callers would say, and then you respond in the end of it.
That's true.
Oh, thank you. And of course, if you want to send in an SMS, that too, you can do that through this line 0808-478-9999. Our first caller this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Fan.
Thank you very much. Who is on the line this morning?
My name is Shirin Matasa, with AKA on TikTok and Instagram.
Oh, that is lovely. Your contribution
My
today,
contribution today with the Honorable speaking on how can the people that they said they are only people who are enjoying this subsidy in Nigeria, which are the petroleum merchants, and we get the subsidy to the governor. There is no how this government can spend all the money on the people of Nigeria, because the people are the masses that are enjoying this subsidy. We even said, let the subsidy continue to be enjoyed by those who are enjoying. Let everything be simple and easy for the poor to do. Because let's say from Visa to now is about 200, but before it's just 70 naira. People are having a lot of issues and problems which they cannot afford what they did before. And the enemy is this is not increasing, it's always decreasing. So the problems Nigeria are encountering are more than what the government are expecting.
Thank you very much.
If the somebody can be put back for those who are enjoying it, continue. Let's all the next things continue and not the way they do.
Thank you very much.
You'll be more happy with it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. I can see you were trying to make your contributions within the stipulated time allowed for you. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And of course, hello, good morning.
Hello?
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Amen.
This is Adeumi calling from Boston.
Amen to that. Adeumi, it's good to have you already.
Thank you very much. God continue to bless you.
Thank you. Amen.
As regards the appointment of ministers, we are happy. I think the president said he said the ground running.
All right.
And we see signs that the ministers have started to work.
Okay.
So my question is this, I want to get to answer. Was the appointment of ministers based on compensation?
Okay.
That's just my major thing.
Yes.
Was it be based on compensation? That if you are able to start my bank, you are able to assist. We know you assisted during the election. So must you be start if there are other technocrats that can do better than you? Must it be based on compensation? That's just my major question.
Oh, thank you very much.
And as regards the Minister of Youth, Youth and Sport Development, I think are we not supposed to have a youth like from the age range of 35 to 45? Thank you and God bless.
Oh, thank you very much, Adeumi. If you want to be a part of it, 07032353315, and of course 0808478999 for SMS only. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you for calling.
Thank you very much. Pastor from Masu here.
Oh, it's good to have you. You have a minute, please.
Thank you. I greet your guest. You see, one thing that we seriously need is to go to market and they see how everything is skyrocketed.
Yes, prices, I see.
The truth is that government needs to look into what is really happening.
Okay.
And sort us out speedily.
Okay.
Are you hearing me what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes.
Leaving the country this way is creating a lot of problems. Shops are being broken in many places. Houses are being looted because of people that are going through hardship. So we need seriously to give attention to what is happening to the citizens of this country. In few days ago, a vessel, another vessel with carrying crude, was also born in either in River State or so. You can catch the vessel carrying Nigerian oil, and what the army will do is to burn such vessels. Put down one side.
Thank you very much.
Then you look at what is happening in the aspect of our electricity that we cannot even get. You the refinery, put right hands into offices. You use method of compensation for bringing ministers.
Oh, thank you very much.
That cannot work in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much for contributing. I think at this point, we apologize. That is the much we can take from our callers this morning. We will let our guest to respond to some of these calls at the moment. Before you do, I have this message that came in as an SMS, said good, nice, and thanks. We pray for you to cover all our imperfections, pacify our fears and worries, purify our intentions, answer all our supplications. Hassan Garba, thank you.
Truly speaking, like the people say, let me start from the person from Narbuta when he called. The truth is, like I said earlier, removing subsidy is not a bad thing. Putting in subsidy is not a bad thing. You just have to cushion it. You need to balance it. Let me say this, there are some governors that are already using the money they got in the subvention to other people. Like they have 966.7 billion that they are sharing, that the Federal Executive Council, Economic Council got this month. You see, the truth is that it's a good thing if it's well managed. Like I said, all this thing boils down to paradigm shift, sincerity, loyalty, and actually patriotism. Our people in Nigerians, we need to come back to country. We need to find our country. We need to be patriotic. We need to be loyal. We need to be truthful. We are just so very religious, but we lose the fact of country. We lose patriotism. If the governor uses the money well, everybody will feel no pain. about this thing that we call the whole subsidy thing. Because like Governor Zulum bought vehicles, in Akwai, in Calabar, they are subsidizing education in Taraba and all of that. Governors are doing things to cushion the effect of the subsidy. So you say transportation is 200 from Naraguta to Terminus. If the government will provide transport or transport system, it will cushion that effect. That's what I'm saying. So it is taken from the right and given from the left. Subsidy can be managed. Whether you put it or you take it, it can be managed well. When you talk about appointment of ministers, I said it earlier now. If we are not careful, Nigeria will go into kakistocracy. That is the problem, where governance is being run by people who are the least capacity to run the government. Because it's about who worked for me. It's about who was in my campaign. It's about who financed my campaign. It's about who stood with me when things were bad.
Who identified.
It shouldn't be like that. But anywhere in the world, that is part of democracy. But it should not be the leading factor. It is becoming a leading factor in Nigeria's democracy. It should be part of it. Democracy is a mix of everything. It should be part. You should compensate people for doing some work, or you should reciprocate their gesture. But it shouldn't be the yardstick of which you appoint people. There should be intelligence, credibility, like we are still giving it to Obasanjo. Obasanjo bring a lot of people into limelight. Tinubu did, even in Lagos. He brought the likes of Resibanjo, he brought the Fasholas, he brought the Ambodes. He brought up a crop of young, great people. We thought he was going to do the same. We are believing that he should still do the same. You see, the Okonjo Whalers, the Frank Weke Juniors, all of these people were introduced into the system by Obasanjo, because the strength of a leader is his vulnerability. Anything that you understand you don't have the capacity to do, you bring the right people to do it. You are the leader, you don't have to do it. Just bring the right brains, bring the right people, let them bring the technocrats to do it. Now, the appointments of which is done, somebody even said that the minister for youth shouldn't be a younger person. It's not necessarily true. Maybe if you appoint an old person who was once young, who understood how being young means. So it's not about necessarily that it has to be a younger person or an older person. Sometimes even it's good to even give an older person who understands the pros and the cons of being young. And sometimes it's okay to give the younger person. It's not about that. It's just about integrity and hard work. It doesn't matter if the person is old or young, as much as the person can function, that's all. If it's old and he can function, it's fine. If it is young and he cannot function and his brain is nothing in his brain, it's nothing. So it's not. There are countries that are being ruled by older people and they are doing well. There are countries that are being ruled by younger. Look at France, for example. Look at even Ukraine, for example. There are countries that are ruled by younger people, but they are doing great. And there are countries that are ruled by older people. Even America, that we're complaining, Biden is old, but he's running America regardless, because he has the right people around him that are making the system function. Lastly, on the whole tariff, that this is getting expensive, fuel is getting that and all of that, we don't have price control system in our government. We don't have that in Nigeria. What we need to do, I'll tell Nigerians this: in every bad situation, there is an opportunity. Just look at what is the opportunity around your situation and how you can make it work for you. Otherwise, you will complain and complain and you will never have answers for it.
All right, thank you very much. I'm beginning to say thank you already. I have my in-house analyst. He's been listening and being an in-house analyst. Maybe just a minute. You cap up. What's the take-home from all of this discussion? We have just 2 minutes, of course.
Well, I think the background has been set, by, first of all, the speaker from the UK and Honorable Asama, who has been very articulate on some of the issues. At the end of the day, there's a country to run, there's a responsibility to discharge, there's a citizenry to take care of, but how you do that is what, determines, your result at the end of the day. We support some of the measures that government has taken so far, but at the end of the day, again, like, Honorable Asama did confess, there are countries in the world where, subsidies, have been put in certain aspects of life, and that's the only thing that citizens in those countries can say they are actually enjoying. We feel that a subsidy removal at this point, it will appear a bit arrogant and hasty, to the ordinary citizen, because nothing has been done to, cushion its effect before its removal. But we do hope that some of the palliative interventions will be properly monitored to make sure it trickles down to the target audience.
Okay, thank you very much, my in-house analyst and political analyst, Shaibu Duro. Thank you for being in the studio this morning. And of course, Comrade Honorable philanthropist Daniel Asama. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And I wanted to be here again and again because we've not had the best of the time we would have loved for someone like you.
He has to, because he's...
You will need to promise. You will need to promise the people on air.
I would love to. We're all about the people, just like you.
Thank you very much, my listeners and viewers. It's so lovely to have you be with us all through the segments. And of course, we'll do this again together next week. Come Monday, it's going to be another interesting one. From me, Bijuza Adamuizi, Kobe. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Ba komai ake nema kuma a samu ba a lokacin da ake neman shi. Mu sani akwai jarabawa wanda a lokuta da dama take mana katanga tsakaninmu da burukan ranmu. Saboda haka ya kamata mu rinka mika lamuranmu ga mahaliccinmu domin samun mafaka, don hakan ita kadai ce hanya mai billewa a gare mu.
Unity TV.
A duk lokacin da kake tare da wani ko wata aboki ne, kawace, yar uwa ko dan uwa ko ma dai wane ne da kake tare da shi, ka rinka yawan zama kana tunanin shin a zamantakewar ku akwai wani alfani da take kara maka ko kuma ke take kara miki. Idan babu, ya kamata ka sauya aboki ko kawa. Idan kuma akwai, ya kamata ka rike wannan abokin domin shine asalin mutumin da ya kamata ka yi rayuwa da shi, domin yana da kyau